In Nasik, I met the school senior of mine, and he had just come back from Jagriti Yatra. So it's basically a train journey taking 500 youth entrepreneurs together, and he told me his experience. And the moment he said nation building through enterprise, I said, boss, this is what I exactly want. And when I went to this office, with all of these ambitions and, all that positivity, I somehow realized that, I don't fit in. And there's so much of lack of confidence in me. So you don't understand the importance of confidence until you suffer from a lack of it. ऐसा नहीं है प्रांजल की स्किल्स की कमी है
Exactly.
हम लोग बहुत स्किल्स हैं हमारे पास हम बहुत मेहनती भी हैं
Correct.
पर वो बस वही है कि वो एक कॉन्फिडेंस की जो बात है वो कई बार रोल प्ले करती है जो हम रियलाइज नहीं करते
नहीं
हैं
कर पाते. Actually it's very true. People are skilled. बस वो communicate करना या वो deliver
हाँ.
नहीं कर पा रहे कि ये काम वो कर सकते हैं.
Exactly.
They don't go in that field also.
Yeah. So I get a lot of these requests that, my interview is in 2 days. Please make me confident. So while all of these things that we do, it's a very immersive experience. It takes time. Confidence cannot be built overnight.
How you actually convince your parents in your possibility of starting your own venture? Hello everyone, welcome to TMO, the Making of Podcast. This is your host Pranjal Patil, the co-founder of TMO, where we bring inspiring stories of entrepreneurs to you. And today we have a very amazing lady entrepreneur with us, who was born in Nasik, but right now building her own venture in Bangalore city. Not just that, she is helping other entrepreneurs, other individuals to build their own dream projects and to actually achieve their dreams and goals. So today in the podcast, we have discussed about her journey, how she came into this journey, and how she is helping the individuals to actually achieve their goals, how one can rebuild their confidence which has lost, how you can actually crack the dream job which you are looking for, how you can convince your parents if you want to be an entrepreneur, and many more. Now, I'm not going to disclose more details on this. So, not wasting your time and just moving towards the podcast. Hello, Shraddha ma'am.
Hi.
Thank you so much for requesting our accept and coming to our podcast channel, and that too all the way from Bangalore. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, without wasting time, I would really like to know your childhood journey and how you ended up being an entrepreneur.
Sure. So, Pranjal, it all started with a dream. Okay, and you may find it really stupid, but right since my seventh standard, I had this very clear vision in my mind that I am this entrepreneur, this business tycoon. Actually, that was the word I used to use at that point in time, and I am receiving this award for my own business. And I'm wearing this beautiful silk sari, ethnic jewelry, and everybody is proud of me. My family is with me, and it's a huge, it's a huge ground, and that stage is there, and I'm walking up the stage to receive that award. So that dream was always there. And I come from a very middle class background where both my parents were working. My mother was a teacher, so I did not see those people around me. But I think probably it was TV. I used to watch a lot of TV, so maybe I just picked it up from there. And that vision, it stuck with me. So even when in school, I used to, in my 9th, 10th standard, when I used to go to these junior classes, and they would say that, Didi, give us your autograph, first, second standard kids. And then, I'll go there and I'll sign Shraddha Kalani, business tycoon. So I kept manifesting it. And it was sort of the only dream I think I was chasing, and I'm still chasing. It's just that I'm a little more closer to it because I eventually actually became an entrepreneur. But the journey towards becoming an entrepreneur was not easy. So, like I said, my family had a very different background. So, I had an idea at a very early age but I didn't know how to pursue that, how to go about it. And we did not have all of these resources, this social media and all of that, to get this information. And, very randomly. So I give a lot of credit to serendipity in my life. And very randomly, in Nasik, I met the school senior of mine, and he had just come back from Jagriti Yatra. So basically, a train journey taking 500 youth entrepreneurs together, and he told me his experience. And the moment he said nation building through enterprise, I said, boss, this is what I exactly want, and I am going to go for it.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, I eventually went there and I built this network for a lifetime. And over these 9 to 10 years, this network always stood there with me across different cities that I went.
Wow.
And that gave me that exposure, the initial start and mindset towards entrepreneurship. And then, of course, I worked with founders in the founders office role and all. But all my mentors, my customers, my employees, all have come from this Jagriti Yatra network. So they are actually, honestly, truly one of the biggest enablers in me becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay, so I can say that it all started with a sixth, seventh grade Shraddha, and who actually started getting things lined up by universe to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess that's how the journey begins. That we imagine something and we manifest that this is going to happen in future, and we start taking steps towards that goal.
Yes.
Okay. And so, can you describe more about what is your business? How this living my dream came into picture,
Sure.
and what does this title means? Now I
Right.
can relate that it is so much related to yourself.
Yeah.
But how this title came into existence?
Sure. So, to tell you about the name, it's very simple. Our entire business revolves around doing anything and everything to enable women achieve their dreams. And it's, of course, inspired by my own journey where, like I said, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know how because my family background was not like that. The resources around the environment also did not support that. I actually came up with my first business venture at 21.
Oh,
Where
wow.
where along with my friends, I had created this brand Geru, which was into selling apparels, handcrafted apparels and accessories.
Okay.
But because I did not have any guidance, I didn't know how to scale a business, no mentors. My parents said that, hey, you're a CA and you can't be selling clothes. And I of course did not know, what else to do or how to answer them or, convince them. So I gave up and then I went on to pursue my master's in social entrepreneurship from Mumbai. And because I had manifested that entire business tycoon thing so much, so a lot to my parents' dismay, while they wanted me to have a secure job, work with banks, because I was already a chartered accountant. I left all of that and then started working in the founder's office. In fact, I did not do any finance role either in my career, despite being a chartered accountant at 22.
Okay.
So yeah, because I always had this thing, at the end, I don't want to live with regrets in my life.
Yeah.
So I might as well just explore and see where life takes me and what interests me. So that's how I started. And I worked a lot in these founder office roles. And in one such stint where, I went from Mumbai to directly in an office, it was a venture capital in South Mumbai. And so I don't know if you would have context, but life in a smaller city or a tier 2, tier 3 city, in fact, in a lot of tier 1 cities, is also very different to your South Bombay life. So South Bombay is basically a most premium, the most richest folks being there, right? Studied outside India. It's very different. You can just make out the difference in the way they talk, the confidence that they have, the way they conduct themselves. And when I went to this office, with all of these ambitions and, all that positivity, I somehow realized that, I don't fit in. And there's so much of lack of confidence in me that I was not able to say what I thought. I was not able to say no, and I was so scared to just do things that I would not do anything. Just because, what if it goes wrong? It just led to a lot of inaction at my end. And then gradually I started realizing that, and it's very funny. So you don't understand the importance of confidence until you suffer from a lack of it. Until then, I never realized that there is something as confidence which actually plays all the role in you growing in your career, right? You being able to stand up, you being able to deliver work, you being able to get work done from others. All of that actually comes from confidence. And I never thought about it. I never actively focused on building confidence. So when all of that episode happened, and there was this time when I was given some work and I screwed it up really bad. Like I would have almost gotten fired on that day. And I still remember, I went downstairs and I was sitting on the footpath and I actually started crying. And I felt so lonely at that moment because my parents were in Nasik. Of course, I couldn't bother them, right? You're sitting away and then you're crying and talking to your parents. So I just didn't know what to do. And so that was actually a very important turning point in my life. I think my mentor at that point, Miss Anjali Bansal, she figured where my challenge is. And she then actually took me like a project. And she was like, there's this girl who has a lot of ambition, is sincere, but she just needs that push, that support, that backing up. That you can do it.
Exactly.
And she gave me that. And that's how all of this started. And then I realized that I was lucky to have her by my side. Not every woman or not every woman has that opportunity to be mentored by a role model, by a lady as accomplished as her. And because of that, it stops them from taking the risk to actually pursue their dream. So with this entire Live in My Dream, the idea is that, how can we provide that mentorship, that confidence that you can do it, because it's all within you. It's not that I'm externally putting it. I'm just helping you discover that confidence within you. Because there's this very famous quote by Richard Bach, and we actually use that very often, which says that you're never given a dream without being given the power to make it true.
So true.
Right? So if you have a dream, you can definitely achieve it.
Correct.
And through our mentorship programs, through our one-on-one coachings, and through these workshops that we do on confidence, communication, personal branding, we help women get closer to their life of dreams.
Oh, that's really inspiring. Like from starting that you said at the age of 21, you started your own handcraft appraisal venture. And then looking at your journey, I can actually relate because if I am in Nasik, I feel I'm good enough to speak to any people who are around me. But at the same time, when I go to Mumbai, I'm having conversation with the people over there, and I met students when I went there for the interviews. And I was myself comparing that where I am lacking at this point. Like at the same time, I am in Mumbai, and again, if I go to South Bombay, then वो तो ज़मीन आसमान का फर्क हो जाएगा. But I can actually see that, and the people around me here in Nasik, if they are going there, then I am definitely sure that they won't survive there for longer.
And ऐसा नहीं है प्रांजल की skills की कमी है.
Exactly.
हम लोग बहुत skills हैं हमारे पास, हम बहुत मेहनती भी हैं.
Correct.
पर वो बस वही है कि वो एक कॉन्फिडेंस की जो बात है वो कई बार रोल प्ले करती है जो हम रियलाइज नहीं कर पाते.
Actually, it's very true. People are skilled, बस वो कम्युनिकेट करना या वो डिलीवर नहीं कर पा रहे कि ये काम वो कर सकते.
Exactly.
And that's why they don't go in that field also.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's very true. And so, like you were describing that how your business model works. So, ma'am, as you mentioned, when you started your journey, there was a mentor who guided you, and she knew that there is a spark in you. बस वो confidence का थोड़ा सा कमी है. And if that confidence is regained, then you can actually achieve what you want to achieve. But we find like the people like us or the young generation right now face the same problem. Skills aata hai, the way we said, but we don't have that level of confidence at this stage that we can present ourselves in front of anyone.
Right.
So what are the things which you will suggest one can do to actually gain that confidence, or what are the things you actually do in your business to support people to regain their confidence?
Sure. So we do essentially three things with respect to confidence building. Number one, we focus a lot on self-awareness. So unless and until you don't understand who you are and what has happened in your life till date that has contributed to you being you, that's something that we focus on. So we basically go along the timeline of your life, note down the significant events that have happened, and how that has helped you either in your confidence, positive attitude part, or towards the negative side. So that's something that we do. Number two, we also talk about the fears, the insecurities that we have, because those are the ones which actually stop us from taking the next step.
Exactly.
And that is when we do these rationalization of fears and thoughts, because a lot of times we overthink without any reason. So how do we do these self-talks, the positive talks, basically to tell us whether we are thinking about this, is it right or is it wrong? Is it really going to impact us? Is it not going to impact us? So that's a skill that we learn. And number third is a brag book that we make. So basically, brag book is a document of all your achievements, all the compliments that you've received, because what we've observed that you need a lot of external validation. And I would lie if I say that you can go without validation. That's not true. You need those validation from people you trust.
Correct.
So we document all of these in a journal format where all the good things that we did, all the good things what people tell about us, and whenever there's a chance or point in time when we feel low, we feel underconfident, we go look at that, and then it just helps us believe that hey, X person has told that I'm good at it, so I am good at it. I have already done this in the past, so I can do it again.
Yeah.
What's the challenge? And it also helps you map your journey, like I said, because that's extremely important to recognize and celebrate where you have come.
That's true. Like, I remember I have played a game where we put the paper plates on our back, and our team members were coming and writing something, and we don't know who is writing what.
Okay.
And I came to know the things about myself, which I never thought people are appreciating me about those things.
Right.
But it actually works.
Yes.
The brag book, you said.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to add here, Pranjal, so I get a lot of these requests that, my interview is in 2 days, please make me confident. So while all of these things that we do, it's a very immersive experience. It takes time. Confidence cannot be built overnight.
Yeah.
And I cannot externally, like an injection injected in you. So it's something that you build very, you have to discover within you. And I, as a coach, support you to do that. And it's a process.
Okay, it's a process. Exactly.
It's a process. Yeah.
Okay. And ma'am, you mentioned that you have worked in founder's office at different roles, right?
Yeah.
And never in finance.
Yeah.
Even though you are coming from a CA background. So what were the roles you actually did while working in the founder's office? And what role actually a founder's office play in one's life if he or she is planning to actually start their journey in entrepreneurship?
Sure. So one thing, any person who is starting out their career, right? So in the first 5 years of the work experience journey, if you get an opportunity, you must definitely go for a founder's office role. And why, I'll tell you that. So it's basically department or function agnostic role. You'll be working with the founder day in and day out. So you actually follow their body clock, not yours, and function around that. It helps you understand and see how the founder is thinking, what sort of analytical mindset, strategic mindset he or she uses in making these business decisions. So you learn that. So basically a combination of strategy, analytics, a lot on stakeholder management. Because you become the eyes and the ears of the founder in the organization. Because of course they don't have so much time, right? So you are playing his or her role within the team. So you have to know how to deal with all the leaders, how to filter out the information for the founder so that it's important and it's the right use of his or her own time. So all of these insights you get, plus you get to know about marketing, finance, HR, operations. So it's like a practical MBA, like getting your hands dirty and then doing your MBA. So it's an invaluable experience. And today, whatever confidence I got, honestly, to eventually start my own thing, actually came from, like figuring out my way in the founder's office sort of roles.
Okay, so it has played a major role in your life. That's great. Okay, that's really inspiring. Just want to ask, what were your key learnings while working in the founder's office?
Sure. So number one, very basic. It's all about common sense. What I realized that wherever we are given a very new project and we don't know how to go about it, I think you just have to take a step back and think कि logically common sense use करके उस चीज को आप कैसे approach करोगे, right? And number second is to think as an employer yourself. Don't think like an employee. You have to learn, if you want to stand out as an employee, you have to actually learn how to put yourself in the shoes of the founder. And think कि अगर मेरा business होता तो मैं इस पे कैसे decide करती, क्या वो करती. That's another thing what I really learned from, and it helped me stand out everywhere. And number three, it's all about people. आप कितनी भी डिग्रीज ले लो, आप कुछ भी डेवलपर बन जाओ, आप फाइनेंस कर लो, कुछ भी कर लो, if you don't know how to deal with people, how to manage people, how to motivate them, it's very difficult to move forward. Either it's your own business or as you grow in your corporate ladder.
Okay.
The ability to deal with people is extremely important.
Okay. That's amazing. So, ma'am, shifting the conversation from business to your personal level, as you mentioned, you started a venture at the age of 21, and where your parents were not supporting, and I have actually faced the same thing in my life 2-3 years back. But when they started seeing that results are coming, paisa aa raha hai, so they started supporting me. So how you actually convince your parents in your possibility of starting your own venture?
Okay, so I got married between all of this, and then my parents were like, "तुझे जो करना है कर," because they were like, "हमारी जिम्मेदारी खत्म हो चुकी है, so you and your husband decide whatever you all want to do in your life." So I think that is what I did to convince to get married. But okay, so jokes apart. So over all of these years, right, I think in the last 10 years, I kept coming back on pursuing some or the other venture.
Okay.
And then eventually they also realized that there's so much passion for me to do this. And of course, at my workplace also I was doing well. So that confidence which I was building for myself, I think they also built it for me that, okay, she's doing so well at her work. This is how she thinks. So why not?
Correct.
So, and if not now, then when? So now I think they are.
Actually, they saw that you were taking efforts to continue this.
Okay. So now they are on board, but parents being parents, and my father, whenever I meet him, he's like, पैसे कितने बना रही हो? Reels तो ठीक है.
I can actually get it.
He's like, reels ठीक है, पैसे कितने बन रहे हैं? But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, and does your parents play any role in your business idea?
Yeah. So, Pranjal, you'd be surprised, and this is something that I very recently realized. Okay, so my mother is a teacher. She used to teach in Symbiosis for many years, and she's been a teacher throughout her life. And very recently, when I keep posting content on my Instagram, and okay, so my mother actually used to teach in my school only, and she was my class teacher at some point in time. This is quite weird, but okay, so one of my batchmates wrote, when I shared a coaching testimonial, so he wrote that, like mother, like daughter.
Oh, wow.
And he said that, Sujata, miss my mother, used to also like go beyond academics to support the student, to,
Children.
focus, on their overall development. And he said, you're doing the same thing. And it's so weird. Until that point, I did not realize that all of this coaching is actually coming to me from my mother.
Oh,
So, yeah, like maybe indirectly, but this inherent skill, this natural skill, it's actually gifted to me by my mother.
somewhere it was already rooted in you. And see now, you did lots of venture and landed up into a
In
venture
this-
where you're coaching.
Exactly. Actually.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
But you were stick to what you want to do. You were just taking steps towards actually reaching the sixth standard Shraddha's goal
Yeah.
of wearing a silk sari and then
Yeah.
getting the award. So that is what I can see. So मैम, as you mentioned कि आपने बहुत सारे founders office में काम किया है. So my question is, how did you got the job? Because today finding the job in founders office itself became a big challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
So you won't believe, but it's all through cold messaging on LinkedIn. That's all that I have done in all my life. So if you ask me about all these other platforms, Naukri and all, I would not know. But on LinkedIn, I definitely know how to crack it. So it's, just cold messaging.
Okay. And have you supported someone to actually get a job for themselves while being in your journey?
Right. So I do have clients who are who were aspiring for this role and have also landed their dream job opportunity as well.
Can you describe the process, how one can actually crack that job?
Yeah, sure. So number one thing, which I also told earlier, is that you have to focus on your self-awareness part. You have to first reflect what are the skill sets that you have and what is your interest area. Once you have identified that, then you go out and see what sort of role would you fit in basis those skill sets and your interests. Once you have identified the roles, you would then go and shortlist the companies which have those open positions or have similar sort of roles. You like their business, you like the sector, because in today's time it's very difficult to work for a product, for a business where you're not passionate about it, you don't believe in it. That's not how Gen Z's function. And that's fair enough. So find the product that you're excited about, and then you'll have to update your LinkedIn, have that properly communicate your personal brand, your skill sets, and then you start connecting with these founders on LinkedIn. And once you have connected, then you send them a brief introductory note. Hey, I'm this, I have this aspiration, I love your product, and would love to check there's some opening. And probably, you'll do 100 messages, you'll get 10 responses. But that's absolutely fine. Those 10 responses, I'm sure you'd be able to convert one of them if you also have your story right. So spend a lot of time in getting your story, your narrative together. Where are you from? What did you do? So what you have done and the why behind what you have done. So that will help you crack the interview part of it.
Okay.
So and actually, a lot of people, they overthink and they stress about finding a job. it's actually very easy if you put this strategy together and you very religiously follow it. I've been working with a client very recently, had about 7-8 months of gap, didn't know where to start, pressure. And it's just been less than 20 days. And she already has 2 offers in hand because she followed this process.
The right strategy.
The right strategy.
Oh, that's great. So you just need a perfect, not perfect, I will say the right strategy to get your dream job.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, like after having the whole discussion with you, what I'm present to is like, even if you failed at the age of 22 and stopped, quit the first startup, but you keep on, like you were taking steps to actually pursue what you wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
You tried working in founder's office, then you tried your own ventures. Even if they're failing, then taking up the new task and doing it. So, and one more thing, like even after the parents were resisting, you were very firm that I want to do this, and actually fulfilled the dream of a sixth standard Shraddha who wanted to walk in the silk sari and get the Business of Tycoon award. So that is something which is going to be inspiration not just for me but the whole audience who is watching us today.
Sure.
And yeah, the like to conclude with, I would like to ask you, what is going to be your one piece of advice to the women who are going to start their own ventures, or to the young girls who are going to step in the same world where you walked in?
Yeah, sure. So number one thing is experimentation.
Okay.
One thing what I always kept doing, right, and without putting in a lot of thoughts, because तब उतना दिमाग नहीं था. So whatever I liked, I would go explore, do it, and learn something out of it. Realize that okay, I'm interested, I'll do it. I'm not interested, I'll walk out of it. But I kept doing it. I kept trying it. And that is how eventually I could figure out my passion, my purpose. So always experiment. Whatever you're liking, don't think what will I gain out of it. Will it make sense? Will it not make sense? It's absolutely okay. If you like it, you're attracted to that opportunity, go and pursue it. It will, you can only connect the dot backwards. So you don't know how it will fall in place into your journey. So just go and try it. And second thing, please don't fear making mistakes. Mistakes are very normal. They are not the end of the world. You're not expected to always be perfect. Just go out, try. The only thing is, don't make that mistake again. But at least make the mistake first time. That's how you'll grow. And that's how your story will be interesting, right?
Yeah.
If it's a very simple, all-winning story, it's not going to be fun. You need drama in your story. So that drama will come from those mistakes. So don't fear that.
That's the perfect piece of advice anyone can take in their life. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I know you are also related to Jagriti Yatra, and we will have a second part to this podcast where we are discussing more about the Jagriti Yatra and dwelling into how one can actually join the Jagriti Yatra and what is it. So we'll have a second part for that. But thank you so much for giving your time.
Thank you so much, Pranjal. It's you guys are doing some amazing work. And the most special thing that I feel about this entire podcast is it's in my hometown, Nasik. And it's so nice to see the youth here, again pursuing their dreams, trying out new things, and connecting and bringing us back to our roots. So thanks a lot for this, for creating this platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am.